Well, hello and welcome to How I Make Music Income. This is all my music income streams in 2023. And this presentation is kind of just an example of how I teach on my course that I've got out now, which right now is only the stock market course, but I have quite a few courses planned. And also how I plan to start teaching on a weekly basis inside a new teaching community that I am building. And by the way, if you want to be part of that, make sure that you email me at makemusicincome. You can't see that because of me. At makemusicincome@gmail.com. makemusicincome@gmail.com, and tell me you want to be a beta tester for the new site, because it is coming, my friends. And so I will put that down in the description once I get done with this video and fill out all the description stuff. The whole goal of today's entire teaching is just to give you an idea of my teaching style, but also to maybe give you some ideas on how you could make music income as well. It may sound like a broken record on this channel, folks, but I don't care. This is the whole point of this channel, is to teach you how to make music income. And it's not all about licensing. It's certainly not all about stock music. We'll talk about those things today, but it's certainly not all about those. All right, so let's get going with today's presentation. I'll be going through all of these things and kind of talking about how they impact my bottom line, how they impact how I make music income. The first one is music clients. If you're wondering why that's first, it's because likely that's my highest income still, even though music teaching is starting to approach that. Hopefully this won't be the way all the things are. Eventually, I would love for these to be reorganized. And I'll talk about that at the end of this presentation, what my goals for 2024 are, even though I'm in 2023 right now. So we'll talk about my music clients, about the consulting things I do for them, producing things I do for them, marketing. Those are all three very, very important to what I do. And there's a whole course, folks, an ebook coming on music production and music work for clients and all of these things. I think this is an income that we're all missing. I'll talk about that a little later when we get there. Then we have music teaching, and this is something that I have been focusing on for about the past 10 or more years since I finished up a bachelor's. I went back and got my bachelor's, and then I finished up my master's. And when I was doing my master's, the entire goal was to teach at some point. Now, it just so happened that I was also doing my master's in music composition, which completely refired me up for the rest of my life to be a composer and an arranger and an orchestrator and all those things. And I had already been pointing towards licensing and doing that. But there's way more in music income than licensing. And as you will likely find out in this teaching, is that music licensing alone is probably not going to pay your bills. You know this already. And so we're going to be talking about all these different things so that as I talk about the way that they make me income, hopefully they could make you income as well. All right, so music teaching at school. I teach at a local recording school at the current time. But I also have a growing online music teaching business, which you are looking at right now. You're soaking in it. Don't worry, it's mild. This is something that I love doing. Besides music work for myself, this is the next best thing that I want to be doing. Sitting here, talking to you guys, doing teachings, making up my own unique weirdo ways to teach people. To me, that is fun. And making videos is fun. I've always enjoyed editing videos and creating all things, really. I also write books and some of the ebooks and stuff. And at some point, I will be writing a book probably about making music income. I don't know if I'll be writing composing books and things. That's probably for someone else. But I will be teaching some composing courses as far as how I compose and things like that. So that's coming down the line. But music teaching is probably the second biggest. Now, these are in order right now, somewhat, of how I get paid my current income, which is probably in the high 5 figures, approaching 6 figures a year with all of these things. And it has been that way for a good 10 to 15 years probably. as I've done many different jobs for many different clients, and then have added teaching and now added licensing. And I've always had music sales as an artist of my own stuff and music royalties. So we'll get to all those things. We're going to talk about music licensing today, but it's only going to be the third section where we really get into sync and microsync and talk about that, because for me, licensing is a passion. Licensing is a focus, but it is not a major income stream for me yet. It will be, but it's just some of these things take time to build, and licensing certainly is one of those things, but we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about music sales. I just got some checks this week, and we'll talk about music sales from music streaming, music sales from sheet music, music sales from physical CDs, and things like that. So we will talk about all of that. And then music royalties will be the last thing I talk about. And there's also a course coming in music royalties, so get ready for that. All right, so let's move now to the first one that I do, the main thing that I've been doing for about the past, since around 2000. So that's 23 years now, almost without a break, is working directly for and with music clients. So music clients, yeah, they are my, if not my largest income account, they are certainly one of the biggest. And I'll just give you a little hint on how I work with music clients. And maybe this is something that can help you also work with music clients, because I'm telling you folks, I think this is the thing that a lot of you out there in licensing world, in your little licensing dreamland where you think licensing is going to bring in all your money very quickly, it's not. It's going to be a slow grind. And yeah, you might have a good month on Motion Array, or you might make some money with Artlist, or you might have, $50 to $100 or an extra big payment that comes in from an Audio Jungle sale or a Pond 5 sale or something. But you know how all that goes. We'll get to that in a little while. But clients are money in hand. Clients are people paying you to do work. As a matter of fact, I have to be very careful with my time today because I have a client at 1 o'clock, so I have a hard cutoff today. And what I'll be doing is a coaching call. Coaching calls are the first part of music production. And you might be saying, why in the world would coaching be part of music production? Well, coaching is how you get the client in the first place. They have to talk to you. They have to meet you. They have to figure out if they want to be working with you. And so for me, that has come under the bullet of consulting. And that could be anything from people calling me and getting a quick 5, 10, 15 minutes to just ask me some questions and see if they want to work with me. And then we move into more career coaching. Back when I had a music production company, what I used to do is have them come to Nashville for a day. I'd have 3 to 5 different artists come in, and we would meet, and I would give the spiel to everybody. Pretty much the spiel right here about music clients that you're getting ready to hear, which would be, I would talk with them about what they can expect in music, what they can expect as a music artist, what they can expect as a songwriter. And then I would tell them about my career and my story and all that kind of stuff. And then, yes, I would listen to their music and give them feedback. And all of these things have been income generators for me for 23 years. I've been doing music feedback. This was for music clients I was really going to produce. I was going to help make music for and help them make a career of their own. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about music consulting for clients. The entire goal, though, when I was in Nashville, when I did consulting for people, was to get them into some kind of music production. And that was their goal too. They wanted to get into music production. And there is a proud client right there, Kyle Bellinger, in the house, and says, I'm a proud client, and he certainly is. And this is a perfect example of someone I am working for right now, still doing the same kind of thing, coaching about his particular focus, which is music ministry and making a new album. And we are all up in that right now with Kyle. And so our goal is to make a new album and put that out, or at least make a new single, make new singles, and eventually maybe an album under our Creative Soul Records label. So yes, there you go. Thanks for being here, man. Glad you are here today. So yeah, there's an example. Wow. What timing. How about that? I am still in this business. This is still what I do, helping people consult, helping people then get into producing. We will do tracking in Nashville with musicians and engineers and studios, and then we will do the overdubs, which includes their vocals, but also maybe background vocals and any other thing that we're going to record for them, and then mixing and mastering that. But that is not the end. That is by no means the end of where we go with my music clients. Now, again, this might be the end of where you want to go as a music producer and say, I want to give them a mix and master, then I want to be done. But for me, and how I made a career for 20 years I'm still doing it. So 23 plus years working for music clients is not only producing them and consulting with them, but then helping them do marketing. And this could be making press releases that go out nationally and internationally, a lot of music videos, lyric videos, regular shot videos, all sorts of different kinds of video content, and then social content. And all of this is another form of consulting. They would pay me and still do pay me monthly to help them do these things. And so, yeah, this is a big part of what I do with my music clients. I also do a lot of co-writing with them. And then some of them also become licensing partners. And these are all things that I am still offering and still doing for people, even though there's a lot to do. But, the reason I'm talking about music clients first is because they are somewhat my bread and butter as far as clients. And so still doing it, and you saw I'm still doing it just a minute ago with Kyle's comment. All right, so that is music clients, and that is basically just between consulting with them, producing them, and then marketing them. And you might be saying, I don't know if I have the wherewithal to do all of those things for them. But I'm betting you probably do. If you are producing yourself and you are marketing yourself, then you have the ability to produce and market other people. And let me tell you, folks, this is something that is going to pay upfront, during, and after the work that you're doing. And it's a lot more feet on the ground than it is to just throw out a song to somebody and hope they like it. Listen, I did that for years. When I was first starting as a songwriter, I would send out cassette tapes and I would send out CDs and I would go to Nashville and I would wait for someone to recognize my genius. But eventually I started my own music client service, and that is how I started making a living for my family as I was still writing and doing different things. There's more to talk about and unpack with this, and I will do an entire course likely on a six-figure production life and how you can do that. But for now, that's where I want to end with music clients. All right, moving on here from music clients, which are a big part of what I do, to the second biggest part of what I do, which is music teaching. And there's two sides to this right now, at least for the way I teach music. And the first one is teaching at an actual school. This is a post-secondary school for recording, for music, sound, and they also have other programs in video and photography and things like that. But I teach the very beginners of the program in the recording arts program. And so I work there per hour. I get paid every 2 weeks. I get benefits. It's like a normal job. Can you imagine? For some of you who had normal jobs, you know what this means. But for me, this has been completely unique and different from what I have been doing for 23 years. This is the first benefits I have seen that I didn't pay for. I could get my own insurance, but this is the first time I've ever seen benefits in matching 401k and all that kind of stuff since 1999, probably. So it has been a refreshing change. And teaching at school was exactly what I did my master's for. You can see my master's right back there. And it's proof, social proof. I literally got a master's so I could teach. But then I got into my master's and I found out I was really doing it because I just love to compose. And I did my master's in composition, and it was so much fun. That's a whole nother course. Why you should go back to school. But anyway, I am now teaching at a school. It is providing a modicum of income, not my entire income, probably only 30% of my income, but it's a solid 30%. It's there every 2 weeks. That it's automatically deposited into my bank account. And this may be something that you have looked at but said, I don't want to teach. I don't want to be a music teacher. But you know you could do it. And it's always could be a fallback position. I think it is something that at the end of the day, when I look at it, am I sorry that I taught the people I taught and gave them the information that they got? And I am not. And there's Andreas saying, yep, that's me, teacher. And I knew that already, Andreas. I knew you were. So glad you are here today and teaching in Switzerland, of all places. And Bradford Nights, I teach songwriting at a local college. So there you go, folks. This is something that you can do, and certainly something that I have done, and certainly something that has been a nice stabilizing. In some ways, the school job allows me to do this channel, allows me to bring you this information, and allows me to teach online here. So if you are liking the content you get here, you can thank my teaching job at the school, because in some ways that helps support what I'm doing. But I do enjoy probably teaching online better, just because it's a larger group. It is a little less on the babysitting side. I don't have to and maybe yell at people for looking at their phones. I don't know if you guys are looking at your phones right now. You probably are. But guess what? I can't see it, so it doesn't matter to me. So it's easy to teach you here because I don't have to worry about what you're doing while you're watching this. But obviously, YouTube has become a great teaching vehicle for me. I am very pleased with the channel. I am very pleased with teaching this way, and it's a lot of fun for me to make the videos. I'm enjoying teaching, and now that I've started my first course, which is the stock market, if you haven't seen my first course, you'll see information below. And this is the exact kind of way that I teach in my course. I talk, and I have the PowerPoint going here, and it looks, if not exactly like this, very much like this throughout the entire course of the stock market. So let me know if you like this style of teaching and you like what I'm doing here, and if it's something that's interesting to you. It will certainly be drier than the flashy content that we have in YouTube channels trying to keep everyone interesting. And I know that this is not going to be a video that gets thousands of views, because they're going to look at it as a teaching video, it's not going to have a lot of cutaways and all that kind of stuff that everybody likes in YouTube videos, because people are like, squirrel. But it's okay. This is for the people who really want to learn, and the people who want to see my teaching style and want to know how I make music and come in how they might as well. So you might be seeing this bullet point at the bottom, and it says teaching community, and you're like, what is this teaching community thing? I don't understand what this is. Well, I'll tell you what this is, folks. This is something new that I'm starting. I am very excited about it. It's something that I am taking just a few people into right now, and it's kind of under the radar until I test it out and make sure it's working. And if you are interested in being part of this new teaching community space, let's just say, make sure you email me at makemusicincome@gmail.com. I'll put notes below, a link after I get done with this video about how you can do that, how you can join me and be one of the beta testers for this new place. There's a lot of interesting stuff that you're going to get for free, and then some next steps. You know, I have been railing and resisting putting a community together, an academy together, but I have decided that, hey, I want to spend my time teaching online, and one of the best ways I can do that is to teach in some kind of organized format, and I'll be doing that weekly on this community. But also, it is going to offer lots of different levels to get into our masterminds, to get percentages off courses, to get free courses, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be the whole shebang. I'm starting it, and I'm looking for beta testers. So if you're interested in being a beta tester, email me at makemusicincome@gmail.com. Okay, so next up is music licensing. You're like, finally, music licensing. I've been waiting. Well, you're in music licensing. You should be used to waiting. You should be used to waiting for stuff in music licensing. Because first, we're going to talk about the longest thing that there is in music licensing as it is, and that is sync. It's a long game. And if you watch Jesse's series right now on Do Not Sync, and he tells you why, and one of the reasons is because it's such a long game and it takes years and years and years and all this. But this is something that I found out about 7 years ago, and I just knew that it was a way that I wanted to go with my composing. I had tons of songs through the years that were just sitting around. I love the idea of writing and passive income, and I was looking at the last part of my career, which includes, quote unquote, retiring in some way, where I'm going to be kind of wanting passive incomes rather than active incomes, and sync and all kinds of licensing are certainly passive incomes. And everyone is interested in passive incomes. Everyone is very excited to put their music out on a place and then make money from it. And so we'll first talk about sync here, which is music for television and film, and also for advertising, and also for gaming. And I'm talking about EA type gaming, not 2D gaming on your phone. Sync licensing is syncing your music to picture in some way. And so this is a way this has been around a long time. This isn't new. This isn't just like something that just came out. This is something that is absolutely something that's been around for a long time. But I think during the pandemic, when people really began researching ways they could, instead of going out and doing shows, which they couldn't do anymore, and everyone was locked at home, they started looking at ways that they could do music in a more passive way or get involved in things. And then, of course, Jesse's channel took off, Sync My Music, and I'll have some links down to Sync My Music and his playlist to his current series. But talking about the libraries that are looking for music supervisors when they are looking for music for a TV show for different types of things. Now, I have plenty of stuff on sync on my channel. You can go to the sync playlist and look through all those things for a further kind of deep dive, but I'm kind of just talking about my music income streams. And I will tell you, this is where my music income streams, these streams are more like tributaries, smaller tributaries to the thing. Music licensing still is not anywhere close to even stock music licensing, but that's not even really close to what I get from my other active pursuits of teaching online and offline, and also from music clients. So definitely sync licensing is something that is a long-term income bet for me. I am making sure that I am piling stuff away, but I am nowhere close to where I want to be with that pile. I want that pile to be 10 times what it is right now. So that's going to require a lot of years of piling music in, because I don't think it's something that will ever go away in most senses. There's always going to be a need for music for moving pictures that we watch on TV. And I only see the amount of things that need music going up. And no, AI is not going to take that over. So I'm not even going to talk about that today. But music libraries that focus exclusively on getting music out for television and film use and advertising use. Advertising is a very big one. And so you can work directly with these libraries, but I also am working now more towards trying to find direct syncs, right? Directly to the source and no library in between. That's a harder row to hoe. I have a whole video about that coming next week, and you're going to see a fight between the libraries and the direct sync route with someone who only does direct sync. And so they're very passionate about it, and they will not ever be putting their music in libraries. So we'll talk about that, but I'm trying to do more of that. And then royalties from Sync Royalties, which is a different kind of royalties. We'll talk about that when we get into royalties section here towards the end. Now, I also do microsync, which a lot of people refer to as stock music, which is feeding stock music libraries. And a lot of people have questions about this, and they want to know what's the difference between sync and between microsync. And if you're watching this channel, you really should have questions like that, because I have like 1,000 videos about it. In microsync, what we're trying to do is sync to micro type of uses. YouTube, instead of television, instead of broadcast television, we're talking YouTube here. Instead of films or advertising, we're talking corporate uses, we're talking personal uses, church uses, different things that people go looking for a piece of music like they would a stock picture or a stock video. And they go looking for this. And when they find the thing they want, they buy the thing. Or they might be part of some kind of thing like Envato Elements, or part of another company that has lots of different kinds of media, and they get a stock video. I got to make a video this afternoon, and it's going to be full of stock video clips that I'm going to go to a place that I pay a subscription to and download tons of pictures and videos to make a client's music video. And this is a fine income source for me right now, which is putting my music into these stock libraries. And so I would say that this one is still only a 5% or so income stream for me. But that means for me about $250 to $300 a month. Now, I know and have done some investigation lately to people who are making way more than that. And some people are making in the $500 range. Some people are making in the $100 range. And I will say, like anything, this is something that you get what you put into it. And so the people who have tried to do stock music, microsync music, and these sites like this, they're a little discouraged right now, some of them. Some of them are outraged. Some of them are, like me, are like, it is what it is. It's an income stream, a passive income stream that pays me, just like my royalties. Hey, my BMI check is not always what I want it to be. It goes up and it goes down. All my royalties, I never know when they're coming. It can be a downer, but sometimes it can be way up. I mean, for instance, Content ID, and if you don't know what Content ID is, it is basically the PRO of microsync, of anything that you get put into a YouTube video. Then Content ID listens, and if that person has not monetized the video, they pay you whatever percentage of time your music was in that YouTube video. And folks, I got a $500 check coming here in about a week. So for me, that's nice. That's going to help me, on my first of the month bills. You guys got to look at this for reality. I mean, a lot of you look at microsync, and this is going to be just a small rant here. A lot of you look at microsync as this, I want to make my full career doing stock music. Well, that's probably not possible. I mean, even Daniel or Stevie or any of the people who do pretty well in stock music, or myself, we look at it as a very small side hustle income. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just, a lot of people seem to think, hey, if I can't make full-time money on this, then why do I even bother? Well, you know what? You can't make full-time income going out and playing a gig either. You'll get paid $100, $150, but you do it because maybe it's enjoyable. Maybe it's easy to do. There's another site I use called SongTradr, which I talk about a lot on this channel. They just paid me today. I got to look at they said last night, here's the deposit I have 3 accounts there. And they gave me a deposit in every account, which was 125 plus. So is that a lot? No, but is it something? Yes. And that's a water bill. That is a phone bill. That is helping pay bills. And so I don't care what you say. I think that this kind of activity for my music is good. And I'll take that income stream, even though it's small. Now, do I spend the amount of time I do with music clients on that? No. Do I spend the amount of time I spend working on teaching online or teaching at school on? Of course not. No way. But I don't even spend the amount of time I spend working on sync licensing on this micro licensing stuff. But I do have lots of songs that don't fit into sync and that I just make for fun and or are my personal music. And I'm throwing all that stuff in here. I'm backing up that dump truck and I'm putting them all in to music licensing into MicroSync. And guess what? It makes me $100 every now and then, or $200 to $300 a month. And I will take that. I don't know about you guys, but I'll take $200 or $300 a month. I don't care if it's only $200 or $300. I'm not doing this to make my living off MicroSync and even Sync at this point. Neither of these music licensing things are to make my life in that. And likely, even Sync won't be the main thing I make my living on. It'll just be another income stream. And we all need lots of income streams. So let's go through the rest of my income streams in 2023 and what else I am doing. And after that, we move into music sales. This is, again, something that has paid me recently. Now, I wouldn't say this even pays me as much as music licensing does. And by the way, I have made some money in Sync this year, not only from my PROs, but also from my libraries who have paid me Sync royalties, which I'll talk about in a moment. I did a video a few weeks ago about Sync versus stock and how Sync is starting, finally, to be on the radar of catching up to what I make monthly from other kinds of licensing. But music sales is something that pays, every few months. I can pull money out of DistroKid. I can pull money out of CD Baby, I can pull money. But music sales, streaming from DSPs, from Spotify, and again, from my distributors like DistroKid and CD Baby. CD Baby's my older stuff. DistroKid is really my newer stuff. I've been using them more. And I have a couple other distributors I use, Symphonic and also Amuse. And every once in a while, I get some money from there. Sheet music is starting to sell more. I just put a new piece of sheet music up this week. Music sales have always been a big part of what I have done and a big part of my focus for as an artist. But as you know, I think of myself more as a composer now, and so that's less of an income than ever. But hey, it just made me $100 or $200 recently in the past few weeks, which again added to a slow month, which is great. You always want these passive incomes coming in. This is why you need to be everywhere, people. This is why you need to have your music incomes coming from all places. This will be a full course here very soon. As a matter of fact, it's the next course I'm working on. And I'm going to go in deep to every one of these. And I've got some special, unique things I'm going to be doing in that, probably a mini course on music royalties, and so be looking out for that. But first, let's start with the song royalties that you're going to be getting as the composer of the song. First of all, you have performance royalties, and performance royalties are the royalties that you get from being the writer of the song or being the co-writer of the song. And performance royalties for me come from BMI. They could come from CSAC, BMI, and ASCAP are the PROs in the United States that pay you performance royalties. And then SOCAN in Canada, PRS in England, and then GEMA in Germany, lots of other ones around the world. But this is where I get paid for the performances of my song, which means that could be anything from actually literally being performed at a venue. It could also mean being performed on the radio or being performed on television, which is a big part of Sync type of work. So if I get stuff played in a television show and they file a cue sheet, then BMI should be paying me royalties for the amount of, who knows how it's actually configured, but I should be getting income from doing the music for that show. And that's not even including the Sync royalties, which we'll talk about in a moment. But so performance royalties are a big part of Sync licensing for me. And then also I have had a lot of performance royalties from radio play in the past with some of the jazz stuff that I have on one of my artist brands. So this is performance royalties are also sometimes paid for Spotify type stuff. You'll see some of those little pieces of pennies on your PRO statements sometimes as well. And then the second part of music royalties, song royalties, is mechanical royalties. And mechanical is now, in the United States at least, collected by the MLC. Now, depending on where you are in the world, this is collected differently. It might be collected for you from your PRO as well. But in the United States, they changed stuff around, and now mechanicals, especially for streaming only, I should say, are being paid by the MLC, which is the Mechanical Licensing Collective. And again, it's pennies for those of us who don't have a lot of streams. If you have a lot of streams, then you might see more. I have seen payments. I am getting large $5 and $10 checks from the MLC every now and then, but I don't get a lot of mechanical royalties. A better way to explain mechanical royalties is anything that is mechanically made. So back in the days of CDs, I had a client once who had an album out, and someone approached them from the Philippines wanting to make 1,000 copies of their CD to sell locally. And they had done, national press releases, international press releases, and they were touring and things like that. So they asked me if they should take the deal, and I'm like, okay, so they want to pay you $3 per CD for 1,000 CDs, and then they want to sell them for whatever. Who cares how much they sell them for? I mean, what does it matter to you what they are selling them for? Because they're going to pay you a cool $3,000, and these are mechanical royalties that they're paying this artist. And so that's an example. If a record label loves your album for some reason and they want to release it, they are going to pay you mechanical royalties. If you want to cover a song and you want to cover a song that is not yours, that is a hit pop song, and you want to do a cover of it, you can pay mechanical royalties to some place like Easy Song Licensing or Harry Fox's Song File, and you can pay those mechanical royalties there. And then finally, we have Sync Royalties on the song side, which is, you get this for really for being the part of this, for being the writer. Actually, this is more likely a rights holder type thing. But anyway, this is another royalty you get in sync licensing, because you make a deal with a library, let's say, and they split the upfront royalties, which we call the sync royalties, which is something the music supervisor from a TV show pays to the library in order to use the song. And they also have to file a cue sheet for performance royalties, but we already talked about that. But this is an upfront fee that usually, sometimes, not always, is paid to a music library or to you directly from someone who wants to use your song. So that is sync. And then we have rights holder royalties, and rights holder royalties include content ID. If you're the owner of the rights of the song, not the writer of the song, but you own the rights, then you can go to a site like Identifyy and put yourself as the owner of that song. And also we have Sound Exchange, which is also a rights holder type of place, where if you're getting played on non-exclusive streaming, so that would not mean Spotify and all those DSPs, but this would mean places like Pandora, like certainly XM Radio, which is the biggest one, because you can't, and also iHeartRadio, but you can't tell it what you want to listen to exactly. You can't say, play this song. You can only play songs like this artist, and you'll get a little radio station type of thing. And Sound Exchange collects that kind of stuff. And then we have neighboring rights, which is something I have a whole video on. If you just look back a few videos, I explain this in depth about neighboring rights. And this is mostly stuff that is collected for you outside of the United States if you have a neighboring rights collector. And so I talked all about that in a recent video. What are going to be my music income streams in 2024? Sync, I hope, is going to move to the next level, and I'm going to get more and more stuff into libraries and more income. I hope to see that both PRO and sync payments rise. I also hope that I can do more online teaching, maybe all online teaching at some point. That is a big hope for me, and that is one reason why I am starting a new online community, to be able to teach weekly there, in addition to my free YouTube content, which you can always have, of course. And get royalties up. I want to see royalties come up, and I want to get more sheet music out for sure. That is a big part of what I am trying to do. And then finally, just continue to get more high-level original productions out. That is not really a goal or an income stream, but for me, that's the bottom line, to make high-level original productions that are going to serve me at every level. They're going to serve me, obviously, by helping clients get these kind of things and co-writing things with people, in licensing of all those kind of songs I do. Everything needs to be very, very high and original, high level and original quality. And then, of course, it's going to also serve this audience so you can see what I'm doing and how those original high-level productions are making me music income. I hope you've enjoyed this, and this is, again, the kind of teaching that I do on the stock market, which is my new course out and the way I'll be teaching. Love your thoughts in the comments below if you have liked this. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.